by the end of this video, I'm pretty much guaranteeing that everyone that is viewing this video is gonna fall into one of two categories. Either you're gonna feel that you learned something and that this video was valuable to you and gave you some things to think about that maybe you weren't thinking about, or you're going to be the type of individual that feels you already knew most of the stuff that I'm going to talk about in this video, but you're still going to feel that every truck driver, especially the new guys, needs to hear this video. I'm pretty much guaranteeing that every viewer that watches this video by the end is going to fall into one of those two categories. Either one of those categories that you fit into at the end of this video, let me know your comments. Also, if you have some things that you would say that truck drivers should never do, because that's what we're going to talk about in this video, let me know what you think truck drivers should never do down in the comments. Number one, don't run your truck with no oil or low in oil. Number two, don't add water to your coolant system. Don't add anything other than heavy duty antifreeze to your coolant system. My mechanic has shared with me that you shouldn't even add car antifreeze to your coolant system. Typically, unless you flush your coolant system regularly, whatever you put in your coolant system is going to sit in there for a long period of time. And water tends to corrode rubber. So having water in your coolant system for long periods of time will cause seals and hoses to go out prematurely. Number three, don't run your motor hot. Number four, try not to low idle your truck for long periods of time. Now, I'm not a mechanic, and if you want to know more about this, go to the guy that does the work on the trucks at the company that you pull for. But when you're idling at low RPMs, essentially your oil pressure is not high enough to be able to get oil to the right places in the motor, to the top of the motor. So if you find yourself having to idle for long periods of time, try to idle your truck up a little bit so that you can increase your oil pressure. Number five, when you finish using your power divider, be sure to cut it off, because you can damage something in your rears by leaving your power divider on, getting on the interstate, and running it for long periods of time. Number six, don't run with low air pressure, especially at a steer tire. Number seven, if you run heavy regularly, then you need to stay on top of the air pressure in all of your tires. Number eight, if you run long miles, don't run recaps on your truck. Number nine, don't blindside back when you don't need to, when it's not necessary. Number 10, I would recommend you didn't use your Jake in icy or extremely slippery conditions. Number 11, don't come down a mountain or even a hill too fast. I have minimal experience with mountains, but the mountain or hill, whatever you want to call it, it was about 6 miles up and 6 miles down that I used to cross a few years ago. When I got to the top of the mountain, I was normally in 8th gear. That was the gear I'd have to drop to pull the mountain. And when I got to the top of the mountain, I would never accelerate. I would never put my foot on the accelerator. I would let the truck coast. And I wouldn't take the mountain in the highest gear because I didn't want the truck to get out of control. If your truck is in the proper gear coming down the mountain and your Jake brake is working properly, you shouldn't have a problem maintaining control of your truck coming down a mountain. Number 12, don't drive sleepy. Shouldn't have to say that, but a lot of us chasing that money, we end up finding ourselves driving sleepy. Number 13, don't try to reach in the freaking bunk when you're driving the truck. We've all done it before. This is one of the things I'll say, be careful if you have to do it. Whatever you're reaching for when you're driving, when you're operating the truck, if it's out of arm's reach, be careful. If you got to unbuckle your seatbelt to lean over or to reach in the back because you can't quite get it with your seatbelt on, do me a favor, keep your ass square in the seat. Number 14, don't multitask when you're coupling and uncoupling. You're on the phone, you're not thinking about what you're doing, you got your mind on something else, and before you know it, something has happened. You pulled from under the trailer and not dropped the landing gear, or like you've pulled from under the trailer and not undone the wires. Keep your mind on what you're doing, specifically when you're coupling and uncoupling. Number 15, don't pull off without fully inspecting a trailer. I'm talking to the guys that hook up to new trailers on a regular basis. Every time you hook up to a new trailer, you need to at least be checking the lights, you need to be checking the tires, you need to be checking the hub seals, you need to be checking, make sure you got a license plate. I can't tell you how many times when I was doing van freight that I went to pick up a trailer, and in some cases the trailer may have already been sealed, and I realized that the doors weren't closed properly. I can't tell you how many times I've seen guys back under a trailer and just pull off and not even inspect it. Do an inspection of every trailer that you back under before you get out on the road with that trailer. Number 16, don't pull off without doing a tug test every single time you back under a trailer. Number 17, don't tailgate, especially when you're loaded. Number 18, do not back up on interstates or exit ramps or entry ramps. This is another thing. If you've been out here long enough, you've seen people doing it. If you get busted for that, you're liable to lose your CDL, and damn it, you probably deserve it. Number 19, be careful about drifting off in HOV lanes or in restricted left lanes. I'm thinking about 95 north of Richmond. I very rarely go up there, but they got a section where the HOV lane is sectioned off in the middle of the interstate. And it's got lanes that are open and closed depending on whether the HOV lane is open and depending on which way it's letting traffic come into that HOV section. And every single time I've been up there, I always see a truck in the middle in that HOV section. And I'm like, how in the hell does a driver drift off and get in that middle section? Number 20, do not drop your loaded trailer just anywhere. If you haven't seen this before, the ground can collapse under a trailer. And in most cases, quite honestly, there's probably nothing that the driver can do. The point is, don't just drop your trailer anywhere when it's loaded. Do your best to make sure you're dropping your loaded trailer in a safe place. It's a bad feeling when you show back up to pick up your trailer and you realize it's sunk down in the ground. I've had that happen before. Number 21, do not depend solely on your fuel gauge. Most old school truckers will tell you you need to get in a habit of actually laying eyes in the fuel tank so you can know for sure how much fuel you got in your truck. More than one of us have been let down by a faulty fuel gauge. Number 22, a flatbedder told me this one. Don't cross the scales if you don't know how much weight you have behind you. He tells me if he can't scale out from the place that he's picking a trailer up and he doesn't know for sure how much weight he has because he actually scaled the trailer out himself, he's not going to go by the paperwork. He's not going to wing it and just go across the scale and then realize that the weight that's on his trailer is not the same as what's on his paperwork. So when it comes to weight, be careful about relying on what's on the paperwork. Number 23, for the flatbed guys, do not stand on a trailer as it's getting loaded. Unless you have to, don't stand anywhere near the trailer when it's getting loaded. Most of the places that you're going to go into will probably have a safety protocol against you being on or near the trailer when it's getting loaded, but I have been in places before that they don't stress that, and there have been more than one driver that has gotten hurt during the loading process because they were standing on or near the trailer and something happened. Number 24, also for the flatbed guys mainly, do not carry freight that's not packaged or secured properly. When I did flatbed, I used to haul bagged mulch and bagged rocks. And on more than one occasion, I would take a pallet of rocks that weren't stacked properly and wasn't shrink wrapped properly. And I would try to throw extra straps or extra binders on that pallet. And I've lost a bag of rocks going down the road before at 70 miles an hour. It wasn't pretty for the lady in the brand new Suburban that was behind me. If you got a load that the pallet is unstable, my recommendation is don't take it. Have the forklift driver take it off and replace that whole pallet with another pallet. Don't try to just wing it in that situation and don't assume that everything will be okay, even if you're just going up the road. Number 25, do not back up your truck into the hole with you standing outside the truck. It's another one of those things that I've actually seen truck drivers do that before, but I would never recommend that. If you gotta stick your head out the window or actually open your door so that you can move your mirror around so that you can adjust, that is okay, but don't stand outside of your truck while your truck is moving. It's just not a good look. Number 26, be careful about mixing up your fuel tank and your def tank. Pay attention to what you're doing when you're at the fuel pump. Number 27, do not leave your job just because someone else told you that you can make more money somewhere else or over there where they are. I'm gonna let you in on a little secret. Most truck drivers are lying, at least to some extent, about their pay. There's always somebody that's gonna have a story about how they make more money than you. I don't care how much money you make, or about how they know somebody that makes twice as much as you and you need to consider that. Try not to pay that stuff any attention, man. Focus on whether you're getting what you need to get where you are. Number 29, do not do a lease purchase when you're a new truck driver. I've heard of situations before where individuals are being offered opportunities to do a lease purchase or be a lease operator when they're still new to the industry. This is absolutely something that I would not recommend. When you're new as a driver, you have enough to learn as far as how to operate the truck. Being a lease operator may sound like a shortcut to being an owner-operator, but most people that have executed a lease successfully will tell you it's definitely not a shortcut. You want to own and operate your own truck, you're going to have to pay your dues. You're going to have to learn how to maintain that truck. You're going to have to learn how to cover all the expenses of that truck. You're going to have to learn how to deal with DOT inspections. You're going to have to learn how to handle your money. There's a lot of things that you're going to have to learn if you want to own and operate your own truck. And I would not recommend a person that's new to the industry starting there. It's just too many things to have to learn at one time while you're trying to focus on paying your bills. And number 30, do not jeopardize your CDL or your trucking career for your carrier or for your company. Sure, you want to be a team player. Sure, you want to be there for the company when they need you. But don't jeopardize your CDL for your company. Don't be doing things that's going to cost you money, that's going to have you in court, or that's going to fall back on you in the name of being a team player, in the name of, well, I'll just do it this time and they'll take care of me on the back end, because most companies are not going to take care of you on the back end. So don't do things that's going to potentially jeopardize your money. You got to look out for you, because ain't nobody else out here looking out for you.